Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Alrighty, hello, ladies and gentlemen, all those in between. Welcome back to Spartan 923 Gaming. I am your host, Spartan 923, aka Firehawk 5150, aka Lucas, and you're going to an ad. Sorry. See you after the ad. Okay. And we're back in Hollow Knight, where we are continuing on. I think tonight we're going to do a bit of grinding. I've been told that I should really be working on getting some charms and upgrades and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to give that a shot and go around getting money and working my way up to a few good charms and going from there. So. As far as our schedule goes, Thursday is up in the air at the moment, so it could be GTA, could be Sea of Thieves, could be Helldivers 2, could be Uno, could be Minecraft. It could be. I'm not sure I want to start a whole brand new game, so we'll see. Jump Space is another option, but I'm not sure we want to start a new game right before I go on vacation. So, sorry I look so haggard. It was a hot day at work. And not in a fun way. Anywho. And then there will be no stream on Saturday. The Twitch will be going into vacation mode Thursday night after I get the final video exported. And then there will be no stream Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, or the next Saturday, because I will be on vacation, and is a long time coming and something that I've needed for a little bit. Gotta avoid burnout when I can. I've got a few other things. I've got like a few other things going on that at least I'll be able to get away from the house for a while, but I might still stream something. But usually the only streams that I will like push for usually will push for usually if I've like got an event is something that helps me calm down. So usually I'll keep doing like the build streams, but if it's something like during like a game that like Hollow Knight, I would avoid Hollow Knight if I was doing something in town. But anyway, we are currently at 162 followers. That is 8 away from our 170 follower goal. So please feel free to hit that follow button, help get our numbers up to 170 so that we can hit that by the end of the year. That would be awesome. Also, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell over at our YouTube, Spartan923 at YouTube. And if you want to help out the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because subscribing not only gets rid of those pesky ads, but it helps us out with server fees, maintenance fees, groceries, model kits, and diapers for little baby Bray. So we greatly appreciate that. I'm wearing a shirt that's a little too big for me, and I don't like it. It doesn't sit well. Also, don't forget to join our Discord. If you can. Let me see if I can do this. I don't have Clover tonight, so bear with me. Did it leak? There we go. I can operate without Clover for a little bit. She wasn't feeling too well today, so. Oh, sounds like I've got guests. Buddy, what happened? What happened, Bubs? Oh, ho, ho.
Do you just want mommy to bring it down?
Hello, buddy. Oh. What did you get pulled away from?
Noodles.
Oh. Right away. A bug, a bug, a bug, a bug, a bug. Uh-huh. 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 If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, kick your legs, kick, kick. If you're happy and you know it, kick your legs, kick, kick. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, kick your legs. That's my boy. Oh, I think someone might also have a stinky too. That might be burning your butt a little bit. But there's that smile. Daddy likes seeing the smile. Oh, careful for the people with headphones, buddy.
Hi, Baba.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you be good for Nana and Mama, and hopefully that stinky isn't too bad. If it is, please let me know. I'll come and help.
Alright. Oh, you smell stinky.
I know it smells terrible. You want me to just come up and? Okay, definitely let me know. I don't want you to have to wrestle him while he's covered in poo.
Poo boy.
He's a poo boy sandwich.
Poo boy.
I love that kid. I really do. Covered in poo. He's a good kid. He really is. I love him to death. All right, and let's go ahead and get on into the game. Now remember, I did just say that if this diaper is out of control, I'm going to go help. So there's a good chance I may walk away. So let's see how it goes. There we go. Now I've got sound. Sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on my phone so that I can help. Oh, I killed myself. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. I gotta go help. Okay, so that got a little wild. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay. How is Pride Month go? Oh, Pride Month's going fine for me. Um, like I said, going on vacation, gonna relax and chill. And we're going, I can tell you the state, I'm not going to tell you where. We're going to Florida. So, yeah, not really the most LGBT friendly at the moment, but where we're going to be, I don't think it's going to really matter. Okay, so Shaman Stone, Long Nail, and slots too. I say we just grind. Get slots, get these. let's see, 1020, 1140, 1440, 1690. Two, 2190, 3090, 4490. I guess we should just start buying then. Ugh, I keep burning my magic. Any new at work? Yeah, I did tell another person at work. So beyond my, uh, beyond my department, only like maybe one other person knew about my gender identity or my sexual identity, and well, we barely speak anymore, so other people might know. But and by this, I mean they are a former employee of my department that I was open open and honest about myself to, and it turned out they were not the best. Uh, so so, uh, but that's neither here nor there. And then I then was so I told my boss if it would be. I asked because we were having something with our dress code going weird, and I was like, is it okay for me to like wear pride stuff? And she's like, if anyone tells you you can't wear pride stuff here, tell me and we'll talk about it, because she was very protective, because they had known for like maybe like the year I had been in the position I'm in. And they always thought it was interesting, like, why were you so quick to tell us when you haven't like even told your family or anything? I'm like, because you guys seemed safe, and not saying that my family didn't seem safe. I think it's harder for me to tell them, because if I disappoint you, I don't really care. But well, I mean, if I disappoint you for my identity, well, that's on you for not liking me. But if my parents, I mean, that's what I was worried about the most, kind of. And the thing is that my parents really never gave an issue of me worrying about that. But nevertheless, I've been wearing these two pins on my lapel. One is my ally pin, which is the standard rainbow bars, and then the other one is my pan flag pin. And they kind of come together as a yin-yang, yin-yang, yin and yang, yin-yang, and I wore them. I wore both sides opposite on each lapel. So, well, actually, several people. There's one other person out of my department, but her and I met during inventory, and we've been buds since. But and so as of right now, 4 people know outside my department, and the first one, the first new one was guy in repair. He came out and he's like, "So who do you wear that for?" And he was pointing at the rainbow one on my lapel. And I'm like, "Well, I wear that for all my friends who are either having a hard time or have had a hard time, and I want them to know that I support them." He's like, "Well, that's good." And I'm like, and then I moved to the pan flag, and I said, "And this one's for me." He's like, "Well, that's great." And it's like, "Thank you." And he's like, "No problem. Just if anyone gives you any trouble." It's like I think there's only like one person that you'd have to worry about. I'm like, yeah, I know who it is. Well, actually, I know there's like 3 people that I'd have to worry about, but because I have heard some people at my work like. Ah, he killed me. That sucks. Oh man, that sucks. But he was very nice, and his wife is always very kind to me, and so I've, but I just didn't see a reasoning to go. But she's also at like a very busy part of the building, so I didn't really want to go bother her with it. But eventually, last week, she came over to my desk, and I told her I've been having a great few weeks. And she was like, "Oh, really? Why?" And I said, well, I finally came out to my family." And she's like, "That's great." And I'm like, "Yeah." And so she was very excited. We talked for a little bit, and I told my boss about that today, and she's like, "Well, I'm very glad that there's more people here that you feel safe around and all that." And but I do know that there's one person at my work that uh, there was a trans employee, and she pitched such a fit about it, that the poor woman had to leave. And that's a real tragedy that some bigot could scare someone out of their job like that, and just completely unfair. And believe me, me and this person have had our conflicts. And the thing is, she went off on me about, well, the thing is that she'd act all buddy-buddy with you and try to learn about you, and then she'd sit around and tell you about how miserable her life is, and just on and on and on. And the thing is I'm a very sympathetic person. I feel for people. I wish people to be in better situations than what they're in. And I just was like, I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of a bummer that your boyfriend treats you like shit and all this other stuff, and that your son seems to resent you and everything else. But the thing is that I really, after you hear the same story over and over and over again, you kind of get a little numb to it, and you eventually listen to it and like, well, how much of this is actually you just refusing to change, or to just own up and be an adult and do things instead of just blaming everyone for your problem. And then the thing was, I'm like, maybe you should like kick your boyfriend, your fiance out or something like that, or maybe have your son actually step up and do his job as a young man, and instead of just letting him mooch off you. And then she talks about like how her siblings left her as the only, like, refused to. I mean, I'm sure, and I said, I don't know the whole thing, but if her mother was anything like her in her youth, I will say I could see why her other siblings wouldn't want to take care of their mother, or would be to the point of which they don't want to even be part of that. And so I'm like, well, you know, you could take it. I'm like, well, why don't you see about getting her in a home? She's like, I can't afford that. And I'm like, well, maybe your fiance could stop getting stoned all the time and actually contribute to, like, no, like, he has, that's part of his job, is being stoned. Okay. And then I'm like, well, maybe your son can contribute. How old is your son? And her son is he's not a kid. He's not a teenager. He is a young man. And to the point of which I'm like, why are you not charging him rent or having him assist with the bills or anything like that? Oh, he's my son. Why would I expect him to do that? I'm like, you are kind of setting your own, just making yourself a victim here. And I was just like, I'm like, I can't really, like, offer you any advice unless you're willing to change. And I mean, well, unless you're willing to change, my advice means nothing, is what I believe what I said. So I'm like, what I would do is, at the time, fiance doesn't want to contribute at all, maybe he needs to go. And then I was like, and if your son refuses to contribute to the household, maybe he needs to go. And so on and so forth. And then I'm like, and then if you can all contribute and put in, maybe you can afford a safe place for your mom to go. That way, you guys get your independence, because you keep nagging about your independence. And then, So, but nonetheless, she started, like, just because I seem to have things together, I was talking about, like, how I'm going to be getting, at the time, I was like, I'm getting married, and, of course, her boss, like, kind of favored me as the new guy, because I would just kind of really tack on the stuff and start doing stuff. And it also, number one, my mentality is, because a lot of people, I'm one of those people that if I do enough work, people start complaining about it. Because they're like, if you keep doing this, you're going to make us all look bad. You better stop. And so, and I really don't give in to those threats. So, I was not very well liked when it came to that. And I do believe that I outbuilt her in something. And she ended up being very angry that I took over her job. That's very nice. But so after that, she started like back talking me and all this. And the thing is, before she even knew me, I was hired, and so I didn't have any company shirts or anything like that. I just came in polos and slacks. And I mean, or as I like to call it, my new gay on campus look. So, but nonetheless, so my new boss decided it would be funny because this lady will not leave anyone alone. She needs to know everything. She thinks it's her right to know everything. Even if it's not her business, she thinks it's her right to know everything. So she started asking, "Who's that? Who's that?" He's like, "Oh, that guy's with Internal Affairs." And I looked like I was from Internal Affairs because I was in a polo shirt, I had slacks on, and I was doing a lot of book reading, and they gave me like the beginner jobs, so I looked like I was a guy that they were just trying to keep busy. And so she immediately believed it. She's gullible as fuck, too. So she believed that shit. And when all apeshit and started telling everyone, he's with Internal Affairs, don't talk to him. And I'm like, are you serious about this? You're seriously gonna treat me like crap? And I was like, you know what, fine, fuck it. So eventually they want to teach me how to build on the main line. And I'm like, great, teach me how to build on the main line. And everyone is avoiding me. Everyone's being rude to me. I'm like, what did I do? Why is no one talking to me? Why is everyone so blunt with me? And I'm like, so this lovely lady, we'll call her B, she was my trainer. And she started asking me, she's like, so you with Internal Affairs? I'm like, no, I'm not with Internal Affairs. And I'm like, who told you that? Like, oh, no, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm like, who told you about that? I want to know. I'm like, well, apparently Nancy heard it from Gary. And I'm like, seriously? I'm like, I've been in this job for like a week, and everyone's been treating me like shit. And no one's come up to talk to me or get to know me or anything like that except Gary. And I'll say his name. His name's Gary. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, yeah, well, apparently so-and-so Oh, I've said her name before. Nancy. Yeah. She just kept telling everyone about it. And then it took B uh, all of an afternoon saying, nah, he's not internal affairs. Don't give him shit. He's a nice guy. All that and all that stuff. And eventually people started to warm up to me and started getting to know me and all that. But I tell you, she vehemently was trying to get me in trouble. And I'm like, why would she make that up? Or why would she even believe that? And so time went on, and then I had my talk with her, and something came up about like religion or something like that, or where I came from or stuff like that. So I'm like, well, if you want to know, I think I said religious wise, and I have this joke because I was raised Catholic, and my dad was Episcopalian. So my mom was Catholic, my dad was Episcopalian. So I'm like, and then I would always lead with, I'm like, and you know what that makes me? And they're like, what? I'm like, it makes me a pissy Catholic, which, in all honesty, I don't even really practice Catholicism anymore. I'm more agnostic or atheist, if anything. Um, I do believe in miraculous things happening, but as far as like an all-seeing being that's keeping an eye on us all the time, I don't. No, that no fly, Monsignor. Um, so, and then, but I'm like, but if you want to know like genealogy and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm an all-American mutt. I'm got German, Polish, Irish, all sorts of stuff. Native American, very little, but a little Native American. Possibly a bit of Scandinavian. But all that Nancy heard was German. And like, did you hear he's Catholic? Did you hear he's German? They're all Nazis. They're all crazy. Those crazy Catholics. They're all crazy. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, you're the one calling me a crazy Catholic, and you're the one driving a car with a fish on it. Like, I don't think you have any right to. I'm like, if you're Christian at all, you're a horrible Christian. And I've like, and then I'm like, so I've reported it to Gary. I'm like, Gary, what the hell? I'm like, you're letting her just spread these rumors. He's like, oh, they're just rumors. No one really takes her seriously. I'm like, Gary, for a week, no one spoke to me. Like, oh, well, I'll let her know. I'm like, yeah, you better. Like, dude, it's not funny. I mean, people seriously. He's like, oh well, don't worry about it. I'm like, I have to worry about it. Bray's coloring. Uh, but So anyway, uh, so at that point I'm like, okay, so I just can't tell her say anything to her. And B was like, yeah, you bet it's best just to not get involved with her at all. And I'm like, all right. So and I'm like, so I'm like, so what about like like her relationships and all that? It's like, you're gonna hear that story so much, it's gonna be so annoying. I'm like, I guess so. Um, because I'm already sick of it. She's like, oh my gosh, you are? I'm like, yeah, I am, very much so. And the thing is I'm like, she probably just end up. And I even said, I'm like, look, I sympathize, I really do. People get up in shitty relationships, and it sucks. But also, I'm not gonna sit here, and if you're gonna just sit and complain instead of doing something about it, I'm not gonna really care much otherwise. So, I'm like, damn me if that pisses you off, but I've said, I'm like, look, I'm like, if it takes, I'm gonna tell you, I am a brutally honest person. And I do believe that her and I ended up in a HR meeting, and I had said several times, I'm like, because I told her that she was a liar and she was making stuff up, and she went to HR on me. And so I sat in HR. I'm like, look, here's what I've been putting up with. So you can either listen to this stupid sob story that she's obviously crafted to make herself the victim, or you can hear me out and actually uh, hear the voice of reason. But I'm telling you right now, I'm done with this. And I'm like, I will file restraint. I will file all the complaints. I will even find out who's in charge of HR in general. And I will go company-wide if I have to. And and then, of course, I just want you two to get along so you work. I'm like, well, if you tell her to stay out of my business and stop spreading rumors, then I'll do that. He's like, I can't guarantee that. I'm like, yeah, you can. You can very much guarantee that. It's like, well, I'm not gonna babysit her all day. I'm like, okay, fine. Then when I report the problems to you, you have to handle it then. It's like, well, we'll see on that. And HR's like, I understand and all that. So the HR lady was nicer than Gary was, because Gary didn't want any more effort, because Gary had his mind made up. He was going to be retiring, and he wanted to start his own little mom and pop shop, and he's all like settled off. He was using his hours very irresponsibly. Ah. And so he would start in the morning, come in, assigned everything. He's like, okay, I'm going to be leaving at this time. And I'm like, can he do that? And it's like, well, no one's told him he can't. He's management. I'm like, but we need a manager to keep us going, right? It's like I trust my team to do their job, and I'm like, that's not how this works. So, but he just keep leaving early all the time. And then we'd have people coming out like, why isn't this done? Why isn't this done? I'm like, your boy left. Like, why didn't you ask him? It's like, what do you mean he left? Like, didn't you approve him to leave early today? He acted like he could just do it. Like, it's like, so he did pretty much do that. And, just have it be known that so, but anyway, so B and I were talking one day. I'm like, is she ever happy? I mean, it's like, well, not really, and stuff like that. I'm like, and it's kind of sad that people let her get away with what she does. I mean, she got several people fired. I'm like, several people? And she's like, oh yeah, you got this person fired because she thought that they were talking about her, and then got this one fired because because of this, and that, because told her that she was wrong on something, and she apparently made a huge deal out of it, and they ended up arguing back, and that got them fired for lashing back. And I'm like, and anything else? I'm like, oh, she got this one lady fired, she's a trans lady. And I'm like, and she freaked out. She's like, and she's like, I won't work here with a trans woman. And they were a person that worked under Gary, and Gary fired him for no other reason, just like, my person can't work with you, so I'm going to just cater to the person that will listen to me. I mean, I pretty much said, I'm like, oh, so and then I found out, wait a minute. I'm like, her and Gary used to work together, and it's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Well, that makes sense now. So, and I'm like, bet when he got here, he hired her. He's like, yeah, that's about the size of it. I'm like, this all makes sense. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, so he leaves his other job, comes to work here, in a cushy management position, and then brings the one staffer that he knows that will do anything he says. And he's like, and she's like, yep, that sounds like it. And I'm like, God damn, that is so Nancy was only there because Gary wanted someone that he knew he could control and would do all the work for him. She'd sit there and complain, but he knew that she would still work even under complaint. I'm like, that is kind of sick, in my opinion. But anywho, so a few years go by, and she, of course, lashes out and stuff like that. And, of course, I get dragged in, and I get into a position where I've learned something, and I end up getting her caught because she was being lazy, and she ended up reporting me to HR, saying that I was picking on her and all this stuff. I'm like, all I said was, you're sitting and doing nothing. And I'm like, you should be telling Gary that you have no work. It's like, and also, you were going off and talking to people the whole time. You weren't actually working. So, explain that to me. So, And so, bad attitude aside, the HR person, like, of course, she's like, Nancy, be honest. Were you just sitting at your desk doing nothing? And she's like, he's a liar. That's all he is. He's a liar. He's gonna make it up. He's gonna make it up just to get me in trouble. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't just threw my hands up and I'm like, you can believe what you want. I know what honestly happened. And if you want to continue this, I will definitely bring my lawyer in and I will sue her for if you take her side and you punish me, I will sue this company for siding with someone who's obviously lying. And like, okay. So it's settled. She was furious that I didn't get in trouble. And so she would go and and I'd just hear, man, so-and-so really doesn't like you. And I'm like, what have you heard? I'm like, well, apparently you're just like the worst thing ever since the Beatles saying they're better than Jesus Christ. And I'm like, okay, well, I am kind of flattered by that. Like, yeah. But she was like making up all these stories and everything else, and I think she even like accused me of like being cruel to my wife or something like that, which was a lie. And then finally people said, Nancy, just shut up. And that's annoying. So and so people just leave him alone. Like, you're not gonna win against him. Don't leave him alone. And then I had to stand up to Gary one day because he kept being wishy-washy about the thing, and I said to the big boss at the time, I was like, look, what is... I'm like, and I explained, I'm like, do you understand how he's running things out here? And he's like, I was like, would you mind explaining that to me? And I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you right now, he's not running it right, in my opinion. It's like, what do you mean? He comes out here, and then last minute, we get these demands for a change in things. He's like, well, that's sometimes normal. I'm like, well, he's expecting us to be immediately on it. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he doesn't allow us time for changeover. He doesn't allow us time to alter the line. And if we're not done by the time he wants us done, we all get in trouble. And then he forces us to stay late because we didn't do it the way he wanted to or fast enough. And so then he ended up going and having to talk with Gary. And then Gary came out. He's like, you don't go and embarrass me like that. And I'm like, you mean telling people that you're doing a bad job? And he's like, I was doing my job as I was supposed to. You have no, like, what? I was about to, because I know what he was going to say. He was going to say, you have no right to tell anyone how to, tell me how to do my job. And I'm like, well, I know who, that's why I talked to Jeff. It's like, oh boy. Yeah, Jeff, Gary, and Nancy. Well, Nancy still works there, but I don't care about Nancy. Gary and Jeff are gone. But I made very clear, I'm like, I am not one with whom to screw around with. And I was not going to be messed with. But I was also still pretty naive. So Um, later down the road, buddy of mine was, well, now buddy of mine, at the time not a buddy of mine, but and I told him, I trained this one guy. He was a good friend. He doesn't work there anymore. His name was Alex, and I told him, I'm like, just be careful of Nancy. And he's like, oh, why? And I'm like, kind of a bit much. And he's like, ah, okay. So, and so he started working there. He was a guy who he really did not give two shits about who you were. And, well, he didn't give two shits about what you thought about him or anything like that. And if you weren't of any interest to him or were an annoyance to him, he ignored you. And that's when I started realizing things about Nancy, is that she loves the abuse. Because I'll tell you right now, Alex paid her no mind. He would say, hey, I don't really want to talk right now. Or he'd ignore her openly. And, like, be, like, not, like, out of his way to be a jerk. Just, like, I honestly do not want to talk to you, is how he was. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I describe you. And, but, so she'd come up and talk to him and stuff like that, and he'd just be so, like, ignore her, just, like, push her away, verbally, not, like actually shoving her away or anything. But he'd be like, I really don't care, Nancy. He's like, I really don't give a damn. And she would just, I'd start overhearing constantly, like, oh, he's so nice, he's so awesome, he's just such a neat guy and stuff like that. And I'm like, number one, he's probably young enough to be your son. So stop being weird, Nancy. And I mean, by that age difference was immense. And I said, dude, I think Nancy likes you. And he's like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, I think she's attracted to guys that just treat her like shit. He's like, I wouldn't say I treat her like shit. I'm like, well, you treat her like she's nothing to you. And he's like, that is true. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I think she has a type, and it is you. And she's like, oh damn. So eventually he left. He got a better job. So, oh, and Gary was kicked out for well, everything caught up to him when COVID hit, and he lost his job because he was planning on retiring, but he was going to retire that year, but he wanted to cling on to whatever, and that's when my new boss, S, well, at that time, my boss, S, was taking the supervisor role. And then when Gary got let go, they made him manager. And then we had to step up as leads. And so he restructured our training and stuff like that. And then I told him, like, well, I do know there are several people that will not listen to a damn thing I say. And he's like, well, if they give you trouble, you come to me, because they should be working. I'm like, okay, that's what you said. That's what we do. Oh, freaking out, freaking out, freaking out. But yeah, so, and then there was one time where she just started yelling at someone, yelling at someone, yelling at someone, and she got taken in to the office, and she got suspended. And this was actually before us, so this was Kevin. Yeah, so Kevin was and but yeah, he wasn't tolerating her anymore, and he actually was. We were. This actually seemed like the opportunity to get rid of her, and because, in all honesty, she had been lying about people. She had been making up stories and other stuff, and people were sick of it. And we also found out that she had been lying about she had been on bipolar meds, and she had been lying about those and not taking them. And apparently this has been an issue before, that work found out about them and said, you need to be taking these pills if your doctor tells you, and she would refuse to take them. So I was like, when I heard that, I'm like, well, that explains a shit ton. And I was like, yeah, you're obviously imbalanced. But yeah, long and short of it, she was not a pleasant person, or she is not a pleasant person, because she still works there.
When on in mer.
But So I eventually moved past that, and I got a better job. And then, of course, they and I ended up going into quality control. So the thing was, is that with quality control, I had to be honest about everything. I couldn't just let things slide or anything like that. And so I was very strict. I was like, okay, can't have this. And so whenever anything would... hang on. I gotta go deal with something. Promise, I'll be right back. Protest this. Get a few things set up here. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. So, I end up working in quality control, and so whenever... And the thing is, Nancy wouldn't always do her work properly, so I would have to report it and say, I'm like, look, I can't just let you pass. I'm like, you're building these wrong. And then she goes, like, he's picking on me. He's telling me everything I build's wrong. I'm like, but she's building things wrong. And he's like, saying, he's like, well, show me what's wrong. And I'm like, okay. And I showed him. And then he's like, oh, it's like, well, yeah, you're building it wrong. Build it the right way. She's like, you can't just have him boss me around. He's not in charge of me. And S was like, he's quality control. He can tell you. He knows if you... He's like, I've been doing this for several years. No one should be telling me what to do. And he looked at her, and he's like, excuse me? And she got real quiet, because S is a Marine. And he's like, I don't take kindly to that. And yeah, he did not like that backsass. So... And so he was like, you and I are going to have a little talk. And so he took her to HR and explained, like, this is going to be a disciplinary action. You don't go telling people what to do, like, stuff like that. And then she did argue back, like, and he's like, also, I can get you on several reports of you leaving your workstation to go and just talk to people. And she's like, I have every right to go and talk. It's my right to go and talk to people. No one can tell me not to. And it's just like, he's like, okay, then I have every right to fire you. if I see it happen, because you're blatantly going against protocol. She's like, you can't do that. He's like, I can. So for a long time, she blamed me for anything that happened to her. And then I got hired into the office, and on my last day, when I got moved over to the office, my manager, S, he took me out to lunch. He's like, hey, I'm very proud of you. You did something that you weren't comfortable with, and you took a chance, and you did it. And like, you took a chance on it, and you did good, and now you're gonna be better for it. I think with all your plans that you have going, I think this is gonna work out very well for you. And I was very happy. I was very glad. I was so appreciative that he took me out to lunch and stuff like that. And if he told me that he was retiring next, I would do the same. And I then went back, and no one else who I'd worked with for 5 years came and talked to me. And I was going to go around and, like, shake people's hands and, like, say, hey, nice seeing you. It was nice working with you. It's nice working with you. I can't wait to see you on this. And I was going to tell people where I was going, but none of them wanted to talk to me. And I mean, I think one person talked to me, and that besides S, and that was Jay. Jay, kind of like a crazy old uncle, and he was always very cool. Him and I talked about Assassin's Creed. He was a huge Assassin's Creed fan. And I asked him, like, hey, if I took this job on, would you guys resent me for it? He's like, you do what you need to do for you. And I'm like, I understand that, but will you guys hate me for it? And he's like, I won't. And he's like, I'm not gonna hate someone for doing the thing he needs to do. And I'm like, or she? He's like, or she, because I'd always get him on that. What if I was a woman? He's like, and so he's just like I'm just saying. But then I was going over to talk to D. And I said, I was about to go, hey, got this new job. I'm going to be doing that. I walked over, and she's like, did you hear that Lucas has got a new job? And then I heard them both, and I heard D go, yeah, guess a little whiny bitch can't handle it. You can't hack it. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, like, I worked with these guys for years, and that's how they see me? And I was livid. I'm like, and no one, no, I mean, Jimmy and I talked about me getting the job, but on the day that, besides being taken out to lunch by S, no one even bothered to come and shake my hand and congratulate me on my job. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. I'm like, I worked with these guys for 5-6 years. And I'm like, if any of them had applied for this job and gotten it, I would have been over congratulating them, saying, I hope the best for you. And it was just such a just kick in the teeth. I'm like just seething about it. And I went over to S, and he's like, you look a little down, bud. And I'm like, well, I'm a little disappointed that no one came to, like, congratulate me over my promotion. And he's like, well. He's like, I'm proud of you. I'm like, that's good and all. I can be fine with that. But it also bothered me that I was gonna go over and like tell people about the position that I got, and I overheard Nancy and Dee talking about me. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, apparently I'm a punk-ass bitch that couldn't hack it. And he's like, do you believe that? I'm like, should I believe that? It's like, and he's looking at me, he's like, you put in the work. You did everything to earn that job. And they saw your abilities, and you made it go. So I would say you have nothing to worry about, and anyone else's opinion of you is just jealousy at this point. They all had the opportunity to get this job, and they didn't. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you have the skill set, you have the mindset, and you have the drive to do it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. He's like, and that's all that should matter to you. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. He's like, some people are just not happy unless they have something to bitch about. And unfortunately, you're what they want to bitch about right now. I'm like, yeah, it just kind of sucks, though, that it takes this long for me to realize that no one over here really gave a shit about me. He's like, and he looked at me and just kind of, I'm like, well, I know you did. And you helped me out a lot, and I'll never be able to repay that type of support. And he's like, it's like, all you gotta do is just keep pushing yourself forward. Don't give up and don't waste it. And so, yeah, I still see him from time to time. He gives me a little hell every once in a while because that whole assembly and quality control thing. Because all assembly hates a quality control. But yeah. And there are times where I can tell that he's not upset at me. He's more upset at situations, and he'll come back and he'll be snippy, and I'll be like, Sean. Oh, shoot. Well, it's not like I'm revealing last names or anything. and and then he'll stop and he'll look. He's like, "This isn't the guy. This isn't the person I should be mad at." Like, yeah, I'm not the bad guy here. But I then wrote on my desk because my new boss saw that I was having a bit of trouble, like, adjusting to my position, and she kept asking, like, what's in your head? And I'm like, and I wrote down the last words. I'm like, this is the last words of people I worked with out there on the floor. And she's like, are you gonna let that stand? And I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it as a reminder of how far I've come and what I left behind, and if it's even worth me trying to remember that. She's like, well, try to think of the positives of it and forget the rest. I eventually did take the sticky note down. But jackpot. So I eventually moved on from it, and but as things went on, in my new position, which I thought, I have nothing to worry about in my new position. I'm fine. I am not going to let anything bug me anymore. And yeah, we ain't doing that. Oh. It's getting a bit dangerous. But, so I ended up having to help one of my new co-workers cover their job, and I was out on the sewing floor. And usually on the sewing floor, I am like folding or inspecting something, and so I was working on something. And I wasn't paying no mind to it, but I saw that Nancy had gone out, gotten food, and was eating out of her station, which you aren't supposed to do. I didn't say anything. I was like, well, not my circus, not my clown. So I just went on my merry way and didn't even bother. So, but then I walked away and like, dude, that girl has it out for you. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, so, like one of the management came out and caught her eating at her desk and tore in, it got into her. And she came over to me and was like, I bet you Lucas told him. I bet you Lucas ratted me out. I'm like, but you saw I never did that. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, so she's blaming me for nothing. He's like, yeah. Like, so she got herself in trouble of her own doing, and she's blaming me for her fuck up. Like, yeah, that looks like the size of it. I'm like, it's typical. It's all she does, is blame everyone else but herself, because she's a victim. She's a victim that can't handle the reality of her actions. She's too much of a coward to try and like call me out on her own. So I'm like, you tell her, and I'm like, if she comes over to you again and starts talking about me, you should just say, well, why don't you just call him out on it? Why don't you just accuse him to his face? Like, there's no one will believe me. I'm like, I'll bet you that'll be what she says. No one will believe me. Like, maybe if you didn't lie about people all the time, people would believe you more often. But
Daula Misu.
Oh, come on, yeah? Patmos, Gio.
So, but there would be times where she would just make up so. The thing is that she'd think that there was no consequence to what she does, and so
Bapanada.
so what I would do for I would tell people in the winter I would make these things I call sopapilla chips, which are flour tortillas, fried and covered in cinnamon sugar. So they're kind of like a sopapilla or a churro-esque kind of thing, and I used to, well, at first I used to buy everyone a chocolate orange, and I would start like I would start in Thanksgiving, and I would start using like we'd get like a gift card or something. I would use that money to help me to help me fund getting everyone a chocolate orange. Well, the chocolate oranges ended up not lasting because it was very hard to get them imported in and such. So, but anyway, once that became difficult, I started. I was working on something, and I thought, what if I fried a tortilla for fun? And I had a flour tortilla. I fried it up. I'm like, hey, that's something. And then I'm like, it's like flour tortilla chips. Or, it's like, okay, that's cool. And I then was like, well, wait a minute, what if I put cinnamon sugar on this? And I looked and I had cinnamon and I had sugar, and I'm like, what the hell? And I mixed them together, and there are these things we used to get at a Mexican restaurant we'd visit rather frequently, and they had these things called sopapillas, which was fried tortilla ice cream cones. And I immediately, my mom loved them, and I threw a few together, ran over to my mom's house, and like, tell me what you think of this. And she tried them. She's like, wait a minute. She's like, that tastes like a sopapilla. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, those are really good. And I'm like, I'm gonna make a few. And I'm like, then I started making more. Well, first I made them for Thanksgiving, and they were a hit. And then I decided to make everyone in my department those. And this was back when I was still assembly quality, not office quality. So I got everyone down and I wrote them all. I took down the names and I made enough for everyone. And I was like, and everyone loved them. To the point at which some people even asked for more. And I even gave Nancy some. And believe me, I'm one of those guys that if you're my enemy, I'll still break bread with you around the season of kindness and all that stuff. But after that, I could really care less what you do. But she got really on about those Senate chips. She's like, "How'd you make those? How'd you do that?" I'm like, "I'm not telling the recipe. I figured it out. It's really simple. You can figure it out yourself." I'm like, but I'm not gonna tell you the recipe. And she's like, "That's bullshit." I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's my recipe. I came up with it." Like, I'm sure your mom has recipes she never told you. My mother tells me everything. And I'm like, well, good for her. And, like, if you want them, I'll make them next year. But that's all they are, is a treat. I don't make these a lot, and I'm not going to make them for anyone who just demands them. Like, I'm no one's private cook. I'm no one's little bitch boy for this. And I was like vehement about it. I didn't want people to just. But then as I moved away from it, I'm like, well, and after I heard how people felt about me out there, I'm like, well, why should I make them anything then? Why should I even... I made those treats for people I considered friends. I'm like, why should I make them treats now? And so I just started to go around with a clipboard and say, hey, do you want these? Do you want those this year? Do you want... And it's like, and I'd get yeses and nos and all that other stuff. And if there was someone new, I'd always make them in batch. But you know, let's get that new. Let's get a new space here. Oh. But so then she would so then I just started like, well, who do I consider friendly to me? Who do I think is, because I mean, I would hear people talk about me and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, why should I make you anything then? And I'd just be like, yeah, no. Like, and I think I even had someone confront me once, and I'm like, so why ain't I being asked if I want on the list? I'm like, well, do you remember this? And he's like, and I'm like, well, because of that, no. Like, so, yeah, I might be being petty, I might be being a bit harsh, but, I mean, if people can't treat people nice, why the hell, what's the point? Oh, hell. But then I would just start taking people off the list, and it wasn't like I was going up to them like, yeah, you're not on the list, or anything like that. People, I would go up and I would ask people, I'm like, I'd even say loud enough, I'm like, hey, I'm doing Senate chips this year, if you want on the list, let me know. And people would tell me, oh yeah, and I'd be like, big bag, small bag, and it's like, okay, oh, big bag. And so I, for a while, was doing, and I still am doing that, but people see me around when I'm doing it, so it's not like I'm hiding it from people or avoiding people. If people ask me, I might make them, but if you're not going to ask me, don't expect me to just make them for you because we used to work together, and don't expect me to make them for you because you think you're owed that, even though you may have been shitty to me. And I said, I'm like, you treat me like shit. I'm not gonna. And so I know someone tried to pull the whole racist card on me. I'm like, it's not a matter of race, it's a matter of are you a dick or not. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, well, have you said anything like, do you remember last day I was working out here, what you said to Nancy? Like, what? I'm like, oh, I do. He's like, oh, really? You remember that far back? I'm like, yes, I do. Because I've got a mind to remember things. Especially when people hurt my feelings. He's like, oh, man up. I'm like, couldn't hack it. Punk-ass bitch. Punk-ass bitch couldn't hack it. It's like, she's like, fuck off. I'm like, I'm just saying what you said. You said it to Nancy. She was out picking your brain about something. You're like, I don't know. Like, yeah, punk-ass bitch couldn't hack it. Okay, fine. I'll tell you, this punk-ass bitch is making more than you. Like, yeah, well, they only gave you that job because you're white. And I'm like, really? You were offered this position. You had every chance to take it, and you didn't. Instead, you decided to be a big baby about everything, and whine and bitch and moan. Alright, and that's enough story time for me, so we're going to call it here for now. And we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. So, excuse me. So, if as far as this video should be up sometime tonight or not early tomorrow morning. As far as our schedule goes, Thursday, it's up in the air at the moment. It could be GTA, it could be Sea of Thieves, it could be Helldivers 2, it could be Minecraft, it could be Uno. We're all waiting to see what comes out as far as GTA wise, and we'll go from there. Let's see, what else? There will be no stream on Saturday or for the week, because we will be out of town, so probably won't be till Tuesday. Why did it do that? But it won't be till Tuesday. The 23rd will be our next stream. The 23rd will be our next stream. So, yeah. So, super excited about that. Just trying to figure something out because I remember we were having D&D. Yeah, she'll be off. Okay. Excuse me. My brain stopped. We are at 162 followers. That's 8 away from our 170 follower goal. So please feel free to hit those follows, help us out, help get our stuff mentioned and all that. Don't forget to go join our Discord, which we have a link in the chat at the moment. So feel free to go check that out. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell over to YouTube, Spark923 at YouTube. And if you really want to help out the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because subscribing not only gets rid of those pesky ads, but it helps us out with server fees, maintenance fees, groceries, model kits, and diapers for little baby Bray. And with that, I really have nothing else to say except remember to. Oh, if you're going to be sticking around, we'll see you in a few minutes. If not, remember to get out there, discover, explore, create, innovate. We will see you here next time on Spark 93 Gaming. I love you guys. Take it easy. Oh, man, the grind. Oh, we're making progress. We are actually making progress on this.